I recorded again the meditation, which we started with somewhat like what we did last week, which is very much about beginning with the body, and this art of softening has a lot to do with the body. And as I said last week, there's a sense that you can soften the body, that there is a way that one's conscious will can notice places where you're holding tension and relax them. But there's a lot more going on than that. The body is not obviously entirely in control of our will. And so there's kind of a deeper skill, I think, which is softening into the body with the attention, letting the attention become more used to and open to just sinking into the sensations of being a body. And in doing so, things can open up. It's like one's sensitivity begins to awaken. Just the sensation, the sensitivity to feeling and to presence in the body. So I think that's really the beginning to any softening. I mentioned a little about how there's also kind of a softening of attention, especially when there's something maybe that's going on that it's not particularly wanted, not particularly pleasant in the body, that it's really helpful for the presence to be gentle and kind and soft with whatever might be unpleasant. And certainly our bodies vary in this regard as to how much unpleasantness is going on. Whether there are sorenesses here and there. But I've actually found that with meditation, especially if you meditate intensively, that as the attention goes into the body more and more, there's a lot unpleasant there that's held, and more of that can be felt. And so it's really helpful to develop that as well, just that ability to relax in the presence of the unpleasant. So tonight I want to talk about something I introduced tonight in the meditation that I don't think I talked about last week. That as you begin to move into the exploration of the body, as the attention actually is able to drop down into this felt experience we call the body, this moment-to-moment constellation of experiences that we call the body. There's something that can be noticed, which is really worth pointing out, because I think people can do this practice for years and years and never quite notice it. And the word I used for is the livingness of the body, the livingness of it. You can begin to tune into, that things are always happening in this embodied experience. There's breathing always happening. There's a pulse always happening. And there's sensations arising and passing throughout the body. Sometimes there's a flow, a feeling of a flow. There's vibrations. And even the presence that we feel in our body itself, it has a kind of a vibe to it. There's a kind of a hum, which comes with dropping into this field of embodied sensation. It's really a field of sensation. Consciousness, in some sense, is a field. It's like this opening, like a field where things happen. And so, just the sensate world is this opening to, not just discrete kinds of sensations, but this actual livingness of the body. See if you can begin to notice that in your meditations through the week. That's kind of the homework for this week. Though I'm happy if you keep doing what you did last week, which was to practice softening when you walk and softening the eyes and see what happens there. See what you notice. And we'll talk about that, I hope, more in the dialogue as I kind of gather what your experience is. But this week, see if you can notice what it is to be alive in a very direct and immediate way. There's nothing abstract about life. Be unable to breathe for a moment, and you'll see that immediately, of course. But it's something that we take for granted. And it's a kind of a strata of meditation to begin to let that come into your awareness. This way that the body is alive, everything is changing moment to moment in the body. Even attention, I'll throw that in while I'm thinking about it. You know, there's a lot of emphasis put on in meditation of concentration, of having attention stay somewhere that you put it. And yet, you know, our natural attention is all over the place. If you even are just feeling one thing in the body, like let's say you're just feeling right now the touch of one hand against another, you can just fold them for a moment. You may feel what I was referring to as the kind of vibration. You may feel the livingness of the hands. You may be throbbing, there may be heat. But as you sit with them, also notice that this mind that is present in the form of attention, this taking in of all of this, is shifting around. And there's kind of a momentary attention to here and there. This is actually pretty good concentration, just to be with the hands. I find the hands really useful this way because they hold our attention. They're full of so many nerve endings, and there's so much going on there. And we human animals are such tactile beings. We have so much invested in our hands. Our hands and our eyes comprise a huge amount of our brain. So we've really invested in that as animals. So it can come out in a very immediate way. But you feel your hands. You feel the livingness of your hands. And you can feel the livingness of your attention. The way even the attention doesn't really stay completely put. If you just pick out one little spot, like the tip of the two index fingers against each other, mine happen to be right next to each other, and you just feel that little spot, and with concentration, your mind stays there. And then even as you stay there, in that little spot, what does attention do? It shifts around a little, and the sensations shift around a little with it. So this is a part of the art of softening. Softening into the body. And there's a kind of rebound of energy that starts to become conscious. I would say it's potentially a rebound of joy. Joy is probably saying too much at this point. You're probably not experiencing joy in holding your hands together. Maybe you are. And that word might not quite touch what we're talking about. But in that livingness of the hand, there's something buoyant in that energy. There's something enlivening about feeling the livingness of your hand. It's true of the rest of your body. There's something enlivening. So I wouldn't want the art of softening to be all about kind of just going slack there's a way that as you relax, as you really become soft and open, energy flows, life flows. And I want to point it out directly so you can experience it. Experience it directly. Begin to have it be part of your conscious experience. And if you feel like you don't know what I'm talking about, we can talk about it more in the dialogue. See if you can identify what I'm referring to. So stay with those hands a little longer. I also want you to notice the way that as you really sink into the sensations of the hands together, you can actually let go of your idea of hands. We're such visual creatures, we just impose what we think the hands look like right onto the sensations. Sometimes as you sit there, feeling the hands, the sense of it all being organized by what you see relaxes and shifts. You may begin to see what I mean. It's just a constellation, a cloud of experiences. You kind of shape there, but the immediate shape that your attention has is not the imposition of a form from your eyes. There's also something that happens. See if I can put words to it. When you drop the idea of hands, you notice that there's all these sorts of vibrating experiences in the space of awareness. And somehow the boundaries of your hands don't quite matter. Something dissolves there. I'm not sure I've quite described it adequately. Perhaps you can, anybody knows what I'm talking about, you can try to say it yourself in the dialogue. Sometimes other people's descriptions of things will light up people's brains in a way that mine don't. So this is how we are with the body when we meditate. When we really sink into the felt experience of the body. In some ways, the body disappears as we think it is. The body disappears. Now, see what you can do if you just do what you're doing with your hands now, with your whole body. You can just relax yourself out of any idea about what your body looks like or what it's shaped like. And just feel that cloud of experiences. So I might just say a word about what this is good for. We are really under the tyranny of our ideas. The way that we have formulated ideas about the world starts to determine what we see and don't see there. And we end up not seeing things that our ideas don't include. So it's really helpful, as even just a kind of exercise, to let those ideas fall away, even on such a primitive level as the body. Something we probably started putting together when we were lying in our crib. And we realized that thing dangling over our face was our hand. And it was connected to us, and it's somehow different than the other things kind of strung over the crib. Most people have toys and things. There's no sensation in those. There is in the hands. You start to kind of really put that all together. It's It's really a sense of that. It's a very primitive insight. And as accurate as it is, in some way, we're stepping back in meditating. We're stepping back to something so much more primary. This vibratory cloud of awake experience, which is the body, without the imposition of ideas, even visual sorts of things on it. See if you can experiment with that. See if you can explore that. That's kind of a part of the homework for this week. See if you can explore what it's like to be in the body in this way.